Hi, welcome to Bird by Bookish Bird. My name is Grace, and today I'm gonna do a little spring TBR. It's the end of February, and we're coming upon spring, and I'm real excited about it. And I've got a couple books that I'm hoping to read in that 3-month time. Now you might be asking, Grace, how was your winter TBR? And I would say I'm in the middle of one of those books, and the rest of them I haven't touched. They are sitting right beside me. So, you know, the TBRs, they're a suggestion, they're a good goal to have, but they're not restrictive in any way. They're certainly not letting them control my life. So yeah, this is spring 2023 TBR. Here we go. Okay, so first book that I would like to get to this spring is The Seas by Samantha Hunt. First of all, a moment for the cover. Look at this cool hardback edition I got from Thrift Books. I'm so excited about this. CJ loves this book. Iggy loves this book. Anna loves this book. So I really want to check it out. I know it's about a girl that thinks she's a mermaid in like a drowsy New England town. And there's like an age gap relationship in here. And yeah, that's all I know. And I know it's a little weird. And so I'm ready to get a little weird with this book. Yeah. Next is The Mountain Sing by Nguyen Phan Quay Mai. This is a book that takes place during the Vietnam War. It's about a family. It's compared here to Pachinko and Homegoing, which are, Homegoing is one of my new favorite books this year. I loved Pachinko as well. This is one of my 5-star predictions, actually. This author is also a poet. And I love novels written by poets. Like, I love them. I'm actually reading another novel written by a poet right now, and it's like so good. So I have really high hopes for this one. I just picked it up at Half Price Books, so that was an exciting find. Vivid, gripping, and steeped in the language and traditions of Vietnam, The Mountain Sing brings to life the human cost of this war from the point of view of the Vietnamese people themselves, while showing us the true power of kindness and hope. I can't wait to learn more about Vietnam through this novel and the human experience. There's The Mountain Sing. Next up is Sula by Toni Morrison. I really want to read more Morrison. I read Beloved and I didn't love it. I don't think it was the right Morrison for me, but have heard amazing things about Sula. I think Jalen said it's like the perfect novel. So I'm very excited to get to this, hopefully this spring. I know it's about a female friendship. Like, it's about 2 women, and it's a nice size. It's less than 200 pages, and it's got like a decent size font. So I don't think it'll take me a lot of time, but I am really looking forward to digging into this one. Next, going back to one of my favorite genres, one of my favorite subgenres, Greek mythology, I had to pick up Stone Blind by Natalie Haynes. Also, I would like your opinion. Is this an ableist title? This is obviously a book about Medusa, and that's really all I need to know. Natalie Haynes also wrote 1,000 Ships, which is a book about the Trojan War from the perspective of the women that were affected by it, and that is one of my favorite books. Definitely one of my favorite, like, ancient Greek mythology books. So I wanted to pick this one up by her as well. Okay, for a couple nonfiction books. So what I've been doing this year is like, I have a novel or like a fiction book. I have a classic, and then I have a nonfiction book. So I've kind of been reading 3 books at a time, and that has been very enjoyable for me. And I feel like it's like helping me like spice up and like just kind of change up my reading like on any given day and really be a mood reader. And I'm also reading some huge books right now, so that's helping me kind of pace those out if I'm getting like overwhelmed. So another big nonfiction book that I'd really like to get to is The 1619 Project. This is by Nicole Hannah-Jones in the New York Times Magazine, but it's got a ton of contributors to it. I got 8 pages in, and I just knew it wasn't the right time for me. This, of course, 1619 is the year that the first enslaved African was brought to North America. And so this kind of follows like the history of like Black folks in the United States. And so here are all the contributors to it. So it's kind of like essays sort of on different topics throughout history, like throughout the timeline. I just know it's going to cover a lot of suffering. It's going to cover a lot of beautiful, wonderful things as well. But I just want to be able to really soak it in and really, really honor what is represented in these pages. And I wasn't ready for it the first time I cracked it open. So I think honestly, once I finish the classic that I'm reading The Count of Monte Cristo right now, which is like really taking up a lot of time. So I think once I finish The Count of Monte Cristo, which is like a big chunker, and the novel that I'm reading, which is also huge, I think I'll be able to dive into this one. Okay, next is a memoir, Solito, by Javier Zamora. This is, I believe, a migrant story. I've heard it's devastating. I've seen people cry on the internet about this one. And I am just very excited to read it. I think it'll be beautiful, harrowing but beautiful, luminous prose, harrowing in first detail, an instant classic. So it's harrowing. We definitely know it's harrowing and beautiful. A riveting tale of perseverance. I think this is gonna hurt. I think it's gonna hurt. Okay, and then we've got a couple classics. Like I said, I'm reading The Count of Monte Cristo right now, which I am enjoying, but there's something about big books that feel like such a project to me. And this is a big book, let me tell you. But I do want to keep reading classics. I have a bunch languishing on my shelves right now. And so I do want to read some more classics this year. So I would really like to pick up The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. I know this is kind of like a weird choice. Most people read this in high school, or a lot of people read this in high school and did not like it. I did not actually read any Steinbeck in high school. That's a lie. I read Of Mice and Men freshman year. Shout out to Mr. Little. Yeah, so I read East of Eden last year or 2 years ago, and I really loved it. So I am interested in reading more Steinbeck, and I will admit this is thicker than I thought it was. This is a little bigger than I anticipated. Almost 500 pages, so great. I just know it's about a family and the Great Depression, and probably California. Another classic I would like to pick up is Little Women by Louise May Alcott. Somebody on, oh shoot, I wish I would remember. Somebody on one of my, maybe it was Modern Ajumma, on one of my recent videos mentioned how I didn't like, it was when I was talking about how I didn't like Wuthering Heights. And she was saying how this is kind of antithetical to Wuthering Heights. It's kind of like wholesome and like moral stories and family ties. And it sounds a little more in the vein of like Anne of Green Gables, which I really loved. So I think I want to pick this up because I really think I'll like it. And if it's anything like the movies, it does span over like every season. And so I think it would probably be fine to read it whenever. But when it's spring and everything's in bloom, here's what spring feels like to me. And this is important because all of these books feel like they would couple well with this sensation. Spring is wearing shorts, but still wearing a long sleeve sweatshirt. So you're still warm up top, but you're free down below. And wearing shorts with a sweatshirt is one of my favorite ways to wear clothes. I like it. I like the Princess Di aesthetic. And so that's what, I don't know why, Little Women, a book that was published in, I don't know, it doesn't say when it was originally published. This was published the year of my birth, 1994. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, anyway, I don't know if that tracks with my my spring vibes, but that's what I'm going for. And I am quite excited about this stack. Another classic that's kind of a different, I don't want to say vibe again, but it is a different vibe. It is a different tone. It is a different direction. Is Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler. This is like a dystopian kind of sci-fi book about a woman that has hyper empathy. So she like feels what the people around her are feeling. I think both emotionally and physically. And so I think it explores that experience in a time when the world is ending, which, by the way, is the early 2020s in this book. So that's so special and sweet and wonderful. I think a new religion is formed, and that's pretty much all I know. I think this might be a little difficult for me, but I'm willing to persevere and push through. and make it work. And maybe I'll really love it. And then lastly, I've got some really heavy books, both literally and emotionally. And sometimes you just need a cleanse. You need a palate cleanse, you need a reset. And for me, what does that is romance. So I got this romance for Christmas, Kiss Me Catalina by Priscilla Oliveras, and I'm very keen to read it. I think just based on the cover, it looks precious and adorable and so lovely. And it is, I believe, this might be the second book in the series, because the first book, I believe, was I was gonna say a West Side Story retelling, which is then a Romeo and Juliet retelling, but it doesn't matter. This is about mariachi bands, and it appears to be an enemies to lovers romance, which is always a delight. So anyway, I think this will kind of help maybe lighten my spirits a little bit when I get down with some of the content of these other books. But that's it. That is my spring stack. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 10 books over 3 months. I think it's totally doable. And yeah, like I said, I know I've said it 5 million times in this video already, but I am currently chugging my way through some thick books. And they are probably the only books I will read for the rest of the month. I think between the two of them, I probably have 1,000 pages left to read. So I don't think I'm gonna get any more books under my belt this month, but I am looking ahead. I'm looking forward to spring. Winter's almost done. We got to use our attic fan yesterday, which was amazing. And so all that to say is there are brighter days ahead, my friend, and there are more books to be read, and they're not going anywhere. So if you are interested or excited about any of the books in the stack, please let me know. I would love to chat with you about them. If you have any, strong feelings about these, please let me know. And yeah, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you watching. I just hit 200 subscribers, which is very cool for me, very big deal for me. So I really appreciate you being here. And I hope that you just have the best day, and I will see you next time, okay? Okay, bye.